Hello, sippers. I'm Demetrius.
I'm Renee.
And I'm Marcia.
And this is Sipping on Wine, a true crime podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, ladies. Hey, sippers.
Hey, guys.
Yes.
We're back.
Welcome. We're back.
Always
True Crime Tuesday. As
I'm
Renee
excited.
Yes. So, sippers, let's just get right to it and give our drink of the week.
Ooh, what we drinking? Let them know.
This is called Peach Splash Cocktail, and we'll leave all the
so good.
Yes, and we're going to leave the ingredients and what to use and what to mix and how to mix it on our Instagram, Twitter, and maybe our Facebook.
Yep. So if you guys make the drink, tag us. Let us see.
Yes, please.
Yes, please tag, because I'm curious if anybody's even trying them.
Mm-hmm. You should.
But
they're good.
Yes, I love fruity things. So peach is it for this week.
Right.
Okay, ladies and sippers, are y'all ready to dive into our true crime for today?
Girl, let's get it.
So.
Oh, Lord.
You always be taking us for a turn, so let's go.
I know. I have a little confession. This is going to be a little length, but I'm going to make it as sweet and quick and to the point as possible.
I mean, tell the story, girl.
Okay, exactly. I'm here for it.
Okay. Today's true crime is about Barbara Stagger. She's in North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina. But first, let me give you a little bit of a definition because they labeled her as Black Widow. A Black Widow is a woman who systematically murders multiple spouses, partners, family members, or individuals outside of the family with whom she has developed a personal relationship. So sippers, keep that in mind. Ladies, keep that in mind.
Note taken.
Okay. And now let's travel to Durham, North Carolina. Today's true crime is about Barbara Stagger. Barbara Stagger was born on October 30th, 1948. For the sippers, she's a Scorpio. I'm starting to try to categorize.
Aren't those the crazy ones?
No.
the most psycho sign of the zodiac.
But I digress.
Right.
Yes, please, too. Because I am one. Let's digress.
We know.
Exactly. Them Scorpios.
So she was born October 30th, 1948 in Durham, North Carolina as Barbara Terry. She is the firstborn of 3 children to James and Marva Terry. Her parents were known as hardworking and church-going folk. As a child, Barbara wore thick glasses and was known to be nerdy. Her teachers also referred to her as being emotionally immature on her report card. Barbara would go on to attend Northern High School. She had a good social life and a good group of friends, but felt ugly and never was pursued by boys. She was also noted to be sexually repressed and conflicted about her sexual feelings because she was taught not to be promiscuous. She had never.
Scorpios are freaks. Sorry to interrupt, but go ahead. Sorry, continue.
Okay.
They're sex maniacs, but go ahead.
Okay.
Simply put,
pleading the fifth. She had never dated because she grew up in a church-strict household. In 1967, Barbara would go on to graduate high school and attend college. In college, Barbara met a young student named Larry Ford through a friend. Larry was the oldest of 5 children. He was known to be conservative and private because of his conservative upbringing. Larry and Barbara would start a relationship shortly after meeting, but Larry would break it off, claiming Barbara was just too forward and sexually charged. Pause for effect.
Scorpio, right?
Right.
But shortly after, they would resume their relationship, and in her freshman year, Barbara would become pregnant with their firstborn child named Brian. Being a wholesome guy and wanting to do the right thing, Larry and Barbara married on May 21st, 1968. It is noted that Larry's family initially did not like Barbara that well because of her wild and outgoing behavior. The pair would live with Larry's parents only for a short period of time and move out into a trailer home. Barbara did not approve of this arrangement because she felt that she deserved better, and this wasn't the lifestyle she wanted to live. So Larry would soon stop school and join the Marines Reserve to help earn more money. In October of 1970, Barbara would start a new job as a bank teller and move out of the trailer home she shared with Larry and into her own apartment. She was known to flash cash and spend money as soon as she got it. It was also said that her co-workers noted that Barbara became very flirty and a little too friendly with some of the male customers at the bank. Her mother-in-law, Doris Ford, will also notice how Barbara always stayed out late at night. She also felt that Barbara was cheating on Larry, but decided to keep that to herself to avoid conflict within their marriage. So here's a little fact, ladies and sippers. Barbara was not only a big spender, but she was also a cheater and noted to be a sex addict by the accounts of her many lovers. Just a little fact for Barbara.
I'm not surprised, but go ahead.
Okay. In December of 1973, Barbara became pregnant with their second son, Jason Ford. He was born in July of 1974, but this didn't slow her down. Shortly thereafter, she would go on to have another marital affair. She then left Larry in November and carried on another affair. Y'all, she just making it her third. But Larry and Barbara would soon get back together, all while she is steadily collecting up debt, causing a strain in the marriage. To help with her spending and bills, Barbara decided to become a real estate agent. So Larry decides to take up practicing Taekwondo. Barbara cooks up a made-up story to tell Larry that she thinks she has a stalker and she's being followed, after showing home to her home. So while Larry is out late at night with practice, she decides, hey, let me tell him I need to buy a gun. So she tells Larry, hey, I'm going to buy a gun. And her pastor of the church writes up a letter of character. So on March 22nd, 1978, Barbara purchases a 25 caliber pistol. Let's keep that gun name in mind, okay? Just a little hint. But I also learned that the character letter was for women only during that time because women had to prove that they were able to handle and own a gun.
Nerve.
Okay.
Male created
Yeah,
law.
she had to have a character letter, so she had the pastor do it at a church. So shortly after purchasing the gun, Larry Ford was shot in the chest. So Barbara called 911 and told the dispatcher and police that Larry had a growing injury from Taekwondo practice. And she allowed him to sleep upstairs in the bed for his comfort because of his tossing and turning constantly throughout the night from his injury. While she slept on the couch downstairs and she heard a loud noise. She goes upstairs to see her husband draped over the bed with a gunshot wound to the chest. She told authorities that Larry must have picked up the gun to check it out and accidentally shot himself. This didn't seem odd with authorities at the time, and his death was not further investigated because they ruled his death accidental. Don't hold true.
Accidental.
But his family found the death odd and suspicious because Larry knew how to handle guns. It was later investigated that Ford had no gun residue on his hand, but this was not challenged or pursued in court to charge anyone for the murder. An investigation was open. I'm going to insert that real quick. An investigation was open into his case, but it was shortly closed because nobody wanted to further pursue it, to take it to the court. So his death remained accidental.
And when they say nobody wanted to further pursue it, that meant like no family came forward.
Authorities didn't want, they just did an open shut. That was it.
Wow.
So shortly after Larry's death, Barbara quickly held the funeral just days after. The family was upset and wanted it to be later so that other family members could attend. Barbara quickly packed up and gave away Larry's clothes and belongings right after the funeral. Barbara also made a handwritten will on Larry's behalf, which upheld on her getting the house and other valuables. She also received a payout amount totaling more than $70,000 from 2 insurance policies. But there was one policy that decided we're not going to pay out until a further investigation is done on Larry Ford's death. So she didn't get that third policy, but the first 2 they did pay out, totaling $70,000.
And back then, that was a lot of money.
Okay. So in moving forward, Barbara decided to sell her home and move her family to be near her parents in Durham, North Carolina. While looking for a new home, she finds a house for sale in her parents' neighborhood. The owner of the home comes out and introduces himself as Russ Stagger. The 2 chat, and he tells Barbara he recently divorced his wife and is looking to sell the home, but not sure he wants to let it go. Barbara continues looking for a new place and begins her new life meeting people and becoming part of the community. She also becomes an active member in the church. Barbara, wanting to start a new relationship and move on with her life, dated a man from the church casually for sex, but she wanted more and he didn't. So the relationship quickly dissolved. Time passes and she starts trying to pursue new men. But one guy caught her eye. Can you guess what his name is? Russ Stagger. She went back to the home. Let me give you a little info on Russ real quick, sippers and my beautiful co-host. Russ Stagger was born on May 22nd, 1947. He was a physical education teacher and an assistant coach at Durham City High School. He married Jolene Snow on October 18, 1974. They met at a concession stand at a high school football game 6 years prior to getting married. But Russ would soon cheat on Jolene within the first year of the marriage with a high school student. Russ was busted and caught in the act after leaving a friend's house by his wife, Jolene. The pair would later divorce in 1978 after realizing they weren't meant to be together. They don't share the same interests, and they felt it was better off to just be friends. Russ would go on to date a 17-year-old high school student right after the divorce, but she ended it as soon as she started college because she started seeing the big differences in their age, and the age gap was just too much for her to handle. So she breaks it off with Russ. So shortly after his breakup, Barbara and Russ began dating. During this time, Barbara finds work at a bank and money goes missing. She is in debt and starts writing bad checks and is let go from the job at the bank, failing to tell Russ about her current financial debt. So she never told Russ, y'all, she was indebted or anything. So all the money that she had gained from that $70,000 from her late husband, or should I say deceased husband, she blew through that money. And she didn't tell Russ that she was in debt or anything or what happened to her at her job at the bank. So on March 17, 1979, Barbara and Russ Stagger were married. This is shortly after Russ's divorce from Jolene and a few days short of 1 year after the death of Larry Ford. So she didn't even wait a whole year. Barbara only tells Russ about Larry's death, but skips the part that she was a possible suspect. After almost a year later, Barbara receives the payout from the third insurance policy with a totaling amount of $27,900. Adding in the additional $800 she gets a month from Social Security for the boys from the death of their father. Barbara quickly blows through that money, accumulating more and more debt of unpaid bills and bounced checks. The two realize they have a lot in common in their new discovery of each other. Not only does Barbara have a spending habit of the finer things in life, but Russ has a spending habit that almost matches her addiction. The two equally share that passion for wanting nothing but the best, purchasing expensive cars and material things like high fashion clothes and jewelry. Meanwhile, friends become very suspicious about the spending that Barbara and Russ are doing, trying to figure out how the two could afford to live such a lavish lifestyle. The couple had purchased a beach house, boat, and took expensive trips. Barbara even upgraded her Cadillac to a Mercedes-Benz, and instead of changing oil in their current cars, they would just go buy a new one. Eventually, after all of the constant big dollar spending, the money runs out, leaving Russ struggling to keep bills caught up and paid. But Barbara continues to spend and write bad checks without Russ's knowledge. In the fall of 1980, Barbara wrote a book.
She put all that pressure on him? Good grief.
So Barbara writes a book. The book is titled Untimely Death by B.T. Stagger. It is about her deceased husband, Larry.
That's pretty bold.
That is really bold.
Wow.
And it's
Yes.
giving OJ vibes before OJ
Okay.
existed or whatever. Wow.
She wrote a book. So in hopes of landing a big book deal, she submits her book to a publishing house and it is declined. She received a rejection letter from the publishing company.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
They declined a book?
Yes.
That thing must have been wild for them to be like, no, ma'am, we will not be releasing this.
She received a rejection letter from the publishing company, y'all, that was signed by the editor. So to free herself of debt, she takes the letter heading, changes the wording, stating her book was accepted and that she was going to receive a large sum cash of an advanced amount of $25,000. She goes to the bank to take out a loan, and with good favor, they accept that letter and give her the money she requested as collateral. I didn't even know you could do that. I guess when they say book advances and contract advance, so that money is just to hold until you actually get it, maybe? I got to figure out how that works. I don't know.
For record deals, I know that's how it works. When you get that advance, it's kind of like when you do start getting paid, you have to pay that money back too.
Okay, so maybe
I
that's
never knew about a book advance or how any of the other things.
Yep. So they used it as collateral. She wrote a whole fake letter, y'all. So all while her debt is collecting, Barbara is spending that check. The bank decides to call the publishing company to verify the letter. And the book company had no clue who she was, and she was forced to pay back every dime that the bank gave her in that loan money. But no one knows how she secretly got the money to pay back the bank.
Wow.
So how did you get that $25,000 to pay the bank back?
Exactly. And again, that's like big money for that particular time.
Oh,
like,
yeah. 1980?
She's not dealing with no chump change when it
No,
comes to
that was big dollars
the
back
80s
then.
and the 70s. Right.
Mm-hmm. So eventually, all of Barbara's lies to both family and friends were mounting up, just like her dad. Friends and church members began to warn Russ of Barbara's lies about the book having no publication, about her having no job, about the high amount of debt that she owes people around them in the community. In disbelief, Russ still sticks by his wife and pushes aside what he was told until one day Russ finds a box filled with bills and invoices from debt collectors. Everything had been kept a secret from Russ, and he was in disbelief. When he confronted Barbara about what he had found, she told him, "You're spying on me." Unfortunately, time passes and they are forced to sell their large purchases like the beach house that they own and their current home, which meant they had to downgrade. Russ began taking on extra jobs to help resolve some of the debt that was remaining. All while, Barbara decided to have an affair to relieve stress, and she accused Russ of doing the same. After
Wait,
Russ,
wait a minute. He had an affair to relieve stress. That's what
no, Barbara did. She decided to have an affair.
to relieve stress.
But she
Okay.
accused her husband of doing the same.
When you
Okay,
have a high
girl.
sex drive, I guess that's what happens
Mm.
because I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I'm just saying.
her many lovers said it.
It's crazy.
Yes. So after Russ caught Barbara in the act with her lover, Russ decided to forgive her, and the two decided to work on their debt and marriage. And the both were doing well until they decided to burn through the money again and create more loans. Russ decided one day to better care for his family in case of his death. He decided to up his insurance policy to $165,000 once he got promoted to staff sergeant by 1987 for the National Guard. On February 1st, 1988, a 911 call would be made by Jason Stagger, one of their sons, for an ambulance because his mom asked him to call and say his father had suffered a gunshot wound. Once the first responders arrived, they see Russ Stagger on the bed, lying in his blood. He had been shot in the back of the head in almost the same way Barbara Stagger's first husband, Larry Ford, died, in his bed, and the only witness was Barbara. As detectives came to investigate the crime, they noticed how nonchalant Barbara was acting and barely even crying or upset at what had happened. She wasn't even the one that called for help. She had her son to do it. So she was asked to give her account of what happened, since she was the only other person in the room. Barbara had told authorities that Russ slept with the gun under his pillow because of concerns of break-ins in the neighborhood. She stated that on the morning of the shooting, she had awakened around 6 a.m. and stretched out on her stomach as her right hand rested underneath the victim's pillow. She felt something very hard. As she pulled it out from under the pillow, she realized that it was a gun. And guess what kind of gun? A 25 caliber
25.
pistol. She started to get out of bed, and when she did, as she was backing up off the bed, the gun fired, hitting Russ in the head. Like, how do you get off the bed and the gun?
Exactly.
She a whole lie.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So Barbara was asked by homicide detective Buchanan to reenact what happened, and she did for him as he recorded everything that she reenacted. The story and the reenactment kept changing. Barbara would tell detectives she didn't know how to handle a gun, and she told Russ she didn't think he should keep it under the pillow. Nothing was consistent with how Russ got the gunshot wound. The detective also found out that the gun used at the crime scene was purchased 2 years prior to the murder from Barbara herself. So if you don't know how to use it, but it was purchased 2 years prior to the...
Yeah, it ain't adding up.
Exactly.
Little to Barbara's knowledge, the video recording was going to be allowed in court and used as evidence. So there is a video out. I'm going to list all of the videos and everything. It's by a video called Thing by Medical Examiner, but if that, or Medical Detectives, that's what it, I'm sorry, Dippers is called Medical Detectives. And it is a clip in there where she's laying on the bed with another detective to reenact how she proceeded to get the gun from under the pillow and how she got up and it accidentally fires off. The way it's done, that was on purpose. Just my opinion. Little to Barbara's knowledge, the video recording was going to be allowed in court and used as evidence, but something else very unusual occurred. Russ Stagger would help solve his own murder from the grave. There were voice recordings that Russ made to document his marriage with Barbara. He documented their financial debts and the fear of Barbara poisoning him on a daily journal with the voice recording. He also mentioned how the parent of the ex-husband believed his death was not accidental and he was in fear for his life. These tapes were found by a student at Durham High School while he was cleaning out Russ's locker and handed it over to authorities. After the video evidence of her reenacting the murder with inconsistencies and the accepted evidence of Russ' voice recording stating what his wife was doing to him and countless amounts of witnesses, and Russ telling his ex-wife, Jolynn Snow, to follow up with his death if it was labeled accidental. Jolynn and Russ remained good friends after their divorce, and when he started feeling like unsafe and uncertain about his marriage with Barbara, he confided with Jolynn and asked her to like, hey, if my death come up written as accidental, please look into it. It is not an accident. This woman is out to get me. So Jolynn made it sure that everything in her that she could do to, follow up with his wishes, get his death ruled from being accidental to murder. All of this was used for the justice of Russ Stagger. So on April 15, 1988, Barbara T. Stagger was arrested and charged for the murder of Russ Stagger. It took the jury 44 minutes to deliberate on a verdict, and on May 17, 1989, Barbara was sentenced to death for first-degree murder. But it was sentenced to life in prison by the Supreme Court in August of 1993 due to technicalities in the first proceedings. She was given the probability of parole in 20 years and has since filed for parole multiple times since 2009, and it has been going on for every 3 years since then. But she was last denied parole in 2018 and is still currently serving time in North Carolina Department of Corrections and is up for parole again in 2021. Now, I don't know if it has already occurred. I haven't found anything stating that her parole has come up for this year. But since 2009, every 3 years, she's been filing for parole.
That's pretty psycho. Like she
Yep.
knows that she belongs there, but she's still filing for parole.
But also, y'all, I found this. North Carolina's DPS has a program called Community Leave, in which they attempt to integrate any prisoner eligible for parole into society by taking them outside prison grounds. This includes nice lunches. Per their website, the prison-approved sponsor is a volunteer that has completed training, certification, and a 1-month probation period. During the leave for the approved activity, the inmate may not have any contact with relatives. The leave may not exceed 6 hours. Any inmate may have a maximum 3 leaves per week. Female inmates are only to leave with female sponsors. Male inmates are only to leave with male sponsors. So this means that Barbara could be leaving the prison 3 times a week to enjoy lunches and outing and other activities for up to 6 hours per leave.
Emphasis on the word enjoy. She don't need to be
Yes,
trying to enjoy nothing. She don't need to have
exactly.
that option at all.
Right.
But
Yes.
anyway, what?
While Russ and Larry are still in the ground and their families are mourning their death, she gets to come out and have free outings for up to 6 hours. They own something up there. I don't know how she gonna be integrated. She don't even have parole.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing? But that's their program. It's called Community Leave. I just want to interject that there are multiple media stories on this case, and I advise everybody to go check them out because there was a lot of information I couldn't include in here. She's on a segment called Death Do Us Part, the Barbara Stagger story that was uploaded in 2003. She's on American Justice, and there's a book by Jerry Blatso written in 1994 about the case entitled Before He Wakes. And there's a movie entitled the same thing. That one's available on YouTube if nobody wants to buy the book. It's called Before He Wakes, A Story of Money, Marriage, Sex, and Murder. And a slew of other, I guess, like A&E and this ID Discovery videos and shows on her. But yeah, she has a lot of information out there, and it's a lot that I couldn't include on her case because it would have took us forever. It would have been like a 2-day podcast because this woman has done a lot. So I tried to include the most juicy stuff. This woman murdered for money because of her debt. She had a spending problem and a sex problem.
Wow.
She had 2
And
addictions, money and sex.
I have a quick question. Where are her children? I know they're grown now, but whatever happened
Um,
to her kids? Did it say?
They have that information disclosed out because the kids don't want to be found. From
Oh,
what I
okay.
could find in my researches, I did try to find that. But as far as the family members, they did list that, his mom, Russ' mom, is still looking, for her to stay. She goes to all of the hearings, making sure she stays there, the parole hearings, and the ex-wife. Those members are listed in, some of the family. But as far as the boys, they didn't disclose that.
Oh, okay.
Now, if it is information, I probably needed to research a little harder, but I couldn't find anything regarding the two boys. So that's the story of Barbara Stagger, the Black Widow of North Carolina. And we're going to close the book. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should leave it open because she's still trying to get out.
Oh, girl. Hopefully they close the book on her.
Yes. I hope she stayed behind bars. She deserves it. She shouldn't even deserve the outings that she get. Like, why are you allowing that? Like, so you killed your husband and you get to have outings and he's 6 feet under and you're enjoying life? I just thought that was just odd. I was like, what? But I just hope that the family can get some kind of closure for Larry Ford. I'm sorry that happened. All right, Barbara Stagger, we're going to put you in our concluded book. Bye.
Right. Bye, bitch.
Actually, the detective said that. He said, I can't remember how he worded it. He said something, bitch. I might have to go back and add that in one of the postings. So, ladies, are you ready to move on to our other two segments? If you have the time, I have the dime.
Okay, let's get it.
I'm ready, girl.
That was funny. I heard that.
All right, sippers, we're going to move into our next segment, which is called Random Wind Down. It's where we select a random or current event or things of our interest to have an open discussion or give our opinions on. So are you ready, ladies?
I think I am.
Ready.
This one is about a man in New Jersey. A man murdered by a robber who followed him home after watching him win $10,000 at a casino, shot and killed him while his wife and children were upstairs asleep.
That's terrible.
Damn. Over $10,000?
So here we go. That's the backdrop on it. I've been looking at articles on it.
You could spend $10K in one day, but
exactly.
It's not
like, really?
Me. I mean, good grief. That's
I'm just
crazy.
like, you really
somebody's life for that.
risking your life, the rest of your life in jail for a stranger you don't know for $10,000.
Now, that's okay. Listen to the details on it. A New Jersey pharmacy executive was murdered in his own home after a robber saw him win $10,000 at a casino in Philadelphia and followed him home 50 miles to rob him. So the man it's noted that the guy drove from Philadelphia at a casino to his home in New Jersey, which was 50 miles away. The robber followed him that long, y'all. 50 miles.
That's stupid.
So according to the Daily Mail, Siri Avril-Lapili, 54, was shot multiple times inside his New Jersey home early Tuesday morning on October 26th in an attempted robbery after he was spotted winning $10,000 at Parks Casino. Authorities said the suspect, Ja'Kai Reed John, 27, did not know the victim. Surveillance footage showed from a nearby farm stand showed that how Jackie followed Suri home. When Suri arrived a little after 3 a.m., Jackie was close behind him and broke in through a back sliding door. Suri was downstairs when Jackie shot him and killed him. His daughter and son and wife were upstairs asleep, police said. Jackie, I think I'm saying, or maybe it's Ja'Kai. I'm going to say Ja'Kai, everyone. Ja'Kai was arrested 2 days later and charged with first-degree murder. So you followed that man home 50 miles.
Right, just for that.
For 10, because you saw him win $10,000.
I wonder, did they say if he ever got the money from him?
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say if he was able to even get it.
They were focused more so on the murder.
But it's so scary too, because he's just minding his own business at the casino. Next thing you know, somebody's following you an hour home, basically. Right. Not to just rob, but to kill you. Like, that's sick.
So this currently happened on October 20th. That is just on top of 26 at 3:38 a.m. Like,
this just happened this year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's sad.
He followed him home 50 miles. That blew my mind. I was like, I got to share this. 50 miles. You know you are desperate for money if you following someone 50 miles.
I mean, I could see following them a few miles and see where they go, but then if they keep going and then they keep going and keep going, and you're like, yeah, I'm still gonna, like you couldn't turn off and just be like, all right, forget it, never mind.
But I do want to insert, ladies and gentlemen, please watch whoever is like making every turn that you make.
I know. Gosh.
Because I'm pretty sure he didn't have the man's home GPS, so he had to follow him like every turn. I'm so nosy in my review mirror and my side mirror. Like, oh, did he put his blinker on when I put my blinker on? And that may not even be the case, but that's just how cautious I am because I travel alone so much. And, I just try to be aware of everything on my surroundings. Even when I'm in a store, wait, are you going down the same aisle as me? Like, what are you doing?
See.
Like, did you just saw me on aisle 10? Did you just rush over?
Oh yeah, because that's when the creeps come out is in the grocery store. So I'm always looking at who coming down the aisle when I'm in the store. But I will admit I'm not always looking in my rearview mirror when I'm driving. Sometimes at night
I'm very cautious. Like if I'm turning and every turn you make is me, and I see you make it when I turn into I don't even know if you live in my neighborhood or not. So I'm just gonna roll up to some other street. Yes, that's just in my mind to do that. But I just want to say, for 50 miles, if you can't notice a car following you, oh my God.
Yeah,
I really hate that happen. That is so sad. I want to give condolences to the family.
See that his family was right upstairs too.
Right.
Yes, it's horrible. For 50 miles, for 10K. Go win your own 10K.
Exactly.
I just want to contribute that story for the New Jersey man that was followed home.
How old was he? Did he say his age?
He was, let's say 53.
Oh, okay.
Wanted to share that story. That was our random wind down sippers. And just be cautious of your surroundings. Not to say that he wasn't, but 50 miles, that's a long time for somebody to travel behind you. And you not notice a vehicle making turns when you make turns. So sippers, just be cautious. All right, sippers, we're going to move into our next segment. Are you ready, ladies?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, you are.
I got to always be like that with you, girl. I always got to be like that with you.
Okay, now we're going to move into Take Another Sip. So Take Another Sip is a segment where we discuss something that really caught us off guard, surprised us, maybe it made us mad, or maybe it made us laugh, but either way, it made us want to do what?
Take another sip.
Okay, ladies, I got something to share with you, but I have a question first. Do you ever answer unknown calls?
Sometimes.
It depends on my mood. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It is like,
So if you were in an emergency, would you still answer the unknown call?
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah, absolutely.
You would? Okay. So I got something for you. A hiker was lost on the mountain for 24 hours and ignored calls from rescuers because he didn't recognize the phone number.
Now that's just stupid right there.
Listen, if I'm lost on a mountain somewhere, I'm answering every unknown call that come to my phone.
That's silly.
Even though them unknown calls be recordings. Do I have the woman of the house? Do I have the woman of the house? I'm gonna be answering, hoping that it's a real voice on the other end of one of them calls.
Okay.
I ain't ignoring no call. If my phone still works on the mountain, I'm not ignoring no calls so I can get my help. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Like,
so let me give a backdrop on this if you all haven't heard it already. A hiker was lost on a Colorado mountain for more than 24 hours.
So that was cold.
Yes, ignored calls from the search and rescue team because they didn't recognize the damn number.
I have not heard this story. This is ridiculous.
Yes, so according to Daily Mail, I got to give them a shout out. The hiker was reported missing around 8 p.m. on October 18th after they didn't return from their morning hike on Mount Elbert. Search and rescue teams were notified that the hiker had started on the South Trail headed from 9 a.m. that morning, but hadn't returned to base 11 hours later. The team called the hiker several times to try and locate them, but they never answered. The rescue team spent the whole evening searching for the hiker until the next day, only to learn that the hiker, who was completely unaware anyone was looking for him, had returned home safely at 9:30.
Oh, so wait a minute.
Morning.
Okay, so he wasn't lost, or he just was out hiking.
Someone had.
So he didn't need help then at that point, right?
I guess not. Somebody had reported him missing because it's only supposed to take so many hours, and he hadn't returned yet.
Okay, so now I'm kind of like, okay, I can kind of see how that happens then.
So the search and rescue team told him, look, if you see an unknown number and you're that high up on a mountain, answer. And he was like, well, I didn't know the number, so I didn't want to answer it. So I
kind of get it. Because he didn't think in his mind, he wasn't lost. He was out minding his business, just like anybody else on a given day.
Okay.
And
like,
if you're
so
concentrating on the task at hand, then no, I'm not answering unknown calls.
You're not going.
like,
I thought you needed help. I thought
okay.
you needed to be rescued or something.
Somebody had reported him missing, and he was like, I'm back at home. Where y'all
the
doing?
thing is, if he was out for that long, he should have called somebody at least
and let them know exactly.
Or at least the person that was reporting him missing called his phone or something like.
Yeah, because at least I'm sure that they called his phone as well. So I mean, I don't know.
And then I'm giving a side eye because the person who reported him missing, who was that again?
They didn't state who. They just said,
because if it was a girlfriend, then I'm giving her the side eye. She just was mad because he told her he'd be back in 6 hours. It took him 48.
It's like he is not
mad.
So the search and rescue team were upset that he was already back down the mountain, and they have all this search crew up there looking for him for countless hours, and even started over into the next day to continue their search. But he was already, like, okay, well, I'm at home. Where y'all? What you doing? So I don't know who should be upset or should they be upset, but they did say they felt some type of way. Like, if we call you, answer. But how do you know? Because
I would be mad if I was one of the rescuers out there doing that, but I understand his side of it.
Yeah, the rescuers would have been mad at me because
it's
worse than answering them unknown callers, and it's a recording. Like,
yes. So that happened on October 18th. So now they said they're going to put into play if anyone is hiking that day and you see unknown number or unknown caller.
I mean, that ain't gonna happen, but
my phone is gonna be tucked away in my book bag if I'm out hiking anyway. Like, ain't nobody on their phone hiking through no mountain or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh wait, somebody's calling. Let me answer.
Yeah, right. Like, just had to get away for a minute, I guess.
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah, I wanted to share that little take another sip moment, because that was, I was like, wow, that was
got me on that question in the beginning, because like I said, I thought, okay, he needed to be rescued. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna answer if I'm stranded. But he wasn't stranded. He need to keep doing calls like he be doing. Like,
because I heard the story. I've heard that story before, but I thought it was that he was needing rescue, and then he didn't just like that idiot.
No,
now that I know more,
he was even unaware that they were looking for him and returned home.
I get
That's funny.
That's not really on him.
No, it's not really on him. He was like, "Who? What? I'm at home. What you doing?"
Yeah, like, I didn't ask to be rescued.
I would be so ticked off and on the cold. I'm looking for someone. What he where? I'm up here freezing.
Yeah. The rescuers that have to go out there. People be risking their lives and going up mountains, and it's like it's super cold, and it's like what's those mountains that they try to climb at the top, and then they get stuck, and then they need help.
Mount Everest.
It's like you get stuck up there. That's on you. Like,
yes, and they said at the time that he was
hiking their life to try to rescue you. No, that's just stupid. That's your fault.
And they said the trail that he was on, and at the time that he was hiking, the snow and ice would have been very heavy and kind of hard to get through. But that sucker was already back at home. He was like, "Oh, what's going on?" But that's our take another sip.
That was a good one.
Look into that one if you want, Silver, so you can laugh a little bit more, because I was tickled. I was like, "What, he at home?" Right. And I was like, "Wait, I think I would be mad
just a little bit." If I was
just a little bit. We getting up early. I don't miss my dinner because I'm looking for you. So I'm gonna be really heated. But we hope you're enjoying this sipping on wine segment, our lovely sippers. But we're at the end of the road.
Oh man,
now it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Just started. We're gonna stop saying that at the end of everyone. Like, oh my gosh, are you serious? It's
that time does go by fast.
But it does go by fast. It really.
So sippers, we hate to leave, but guess what?
We gotta go.
We gotta go. We hope you enjoyed that Barbara Stagger. Look her up, watch her movie before he waits, because you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
So enjoy it, sippers, and go back and look at the previous
absolutely
episodes that we have. Those are like the best and the awesomeness. And if you feel like it, we've been told to skip, so you do what you need to do with those, but at least listen to
girl, we're not gonna put that out there. Nope, just listen to it.
Just listen to the true crime
and do what's in your heart
and comment, share, subscribe,
please. Thank you.
Like
all that good stuff.
And listen. All right, sippers, we're gonna end this one on this True Crime Tuesday, and we hope you have a good one.
Bye ladies.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye sippers. See you later.
Bye sippers.